Hello and welcome. Welcome to all the respected faculty members for joining in. Uh, we are just waiting for a couple of minutes before we start. Thank you so much for joining in. Good evening, Amrendra ji. Good evening. Good evening, Karishma ma'am. Due to some technical issue, the earlier link got deleted. So I have circulated a new link for all of you. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much. We'll just begin in a couple of minutes. We have lined up very good sessions for you today, which will be very, very enlightening, and you will really benefit from that. So please just allow us a couple of more minutes as your colleagues are joining in. And there were some issues yesterday, so please do not worry about your attendance. You just join the classes. And let me reiterate that your attendance is being tracked on Zoom. We will take the attendance from Zoom and we will manually upload everything on all your attendance on the AICT portal. So don't worry about your attendance. Second thing is that your assessment will be on the Future Skills Prime platform. That is the reason we are urging you to complete the course on Future Skills Prime. So when you go on Future Skills Prime, you will see three modules for generative AI fluency. I can show that to you also like right now. Let me just show you my screen. So just for the benefit of everyone, I am sharing my screen. Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen so that you can just to tell you where to get the thing. So this is the Future Skills Prime portal, and once you log in, you will see the groups here. So if you go on learning, you go on digital learning, and in the end you will see generative AI fluency. This is the course. So you click on this course, you will see this course, and you will see the assessments. A mock assessment is free. You can take the mock assessment if you want and you can complete the course. Please do not go for this assessment for 600 rupees. We are in the process of generating a promo code, like a coupon code for you. So the assessment will be free for you. What you will get this coupon code in your registered email ID by Friday. So once you get your coupon code, please take this assessment. This assessment you can take, which is for 600 rupees. It will be completely free of cost for you. And for your practice, if you want, you can take this mock assessment. But before that, there is a course. This is the course, Generative AI Fluency. You can get started on this. All the experts that we have invited, they are basically taking modules of this course for you so that you can so that you can learn from this. Just give me 1 second. Hello? Hello? I thought it's a faculty member. So I will just stop the share now and I will, I think we have 114 people on the call now. So we can get started. Um, So if you have any questions about the course, attendance, assessment, we are constantly giving updates on the WhatsApp group. So please keep an eye out for all the updates which are there for attendance, for assessment, for your certificate, feedback. In fact, yesterday somebody had floated an incorrect feedback form that we had not floated. I have deleted that form. And for your Atal certificate, basically you have to go on the AICT portal after we have uploaded your attendance and assessment scores. You give your feedback and then you'll be able to download the certificate from Atal website. So I hope the process is clear for everyone. And if there are any doubts, you can put your doubts in the question answer box. I will be happy to answer your questions. And we'll now move into the session. So I'm very happy to welcome our distinguished speaker, guest, trainer today, Mr. Srijit Nair. Srijit, I'll request you to put on your camera and your audio and video so that our members can see you.
Yes, good evening, Kamna. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for agreeing to take this session. Let me introduce Srijit to our participants. Srijit is a technology-driven development strategist with over 2 decades of experience in innovation, policy, and social impact. With an MTech and MSW, he combines technical knowledge with a deep understanding of people and communities. He designs and manages programs that use technology to make social initiatives more efficient, transparent, and impactful. He is a consultant with IIT Delhi for their Abhay Sarthi program, where he helps to integrate digital tools to improve the welfare and safety of India's truck drivers. He believes that technology and empathy they must work together to drive real change. His training is practical and easy to apply. We have seen it in the last cohort also. We had the same program, and his session was very well received by all the participants. They learned a lot. And basically, he's going to help you to use technology to solve some of the real things, that you face in everyday life. And uh, so happy to have you with us, Srijit, and I'm sure that the audience will really benefit.
Thank you,
Uh,
Kamna.
please take it from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kamna. Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to have this opportunity to interact. Thank you to the entire Future Skills Prime team. It's a wonderful initiative. I have been part of many such interventions, but Future Skills Prime, I like one thing that technology is evolving at a very rapid rate. So the openness that, okay, this is what the course is, but the course needs to be updated on a daily basis. For that, having such interactions being enabled, that is a key part of this course, Kamna, that I really liked. So
Thank you.
mentioning that before I start. So yeah, let me start with my PowerPoint as well. Okay. Is this visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah.
I'll
So
just,
let,
before you begin, I'll just urge the participants to engage and make it interactive and put your questions in the question answer box so that, your understanding is clear and Srijit will be happy to take up. I'll be happy to share the questions with you, which you can take up in case required. Yeah.
yes, of course. Thank you, Kamna. And I'll urge everybody to keep that interactive as well. See, we are learning here about artificial intelligence, learning large language model, and then how to have that application. But one very crucial aspect is that for AI to be used properly, you need HI, that is human intelligence, to be working in a way that you need to understand, you need to process, you need to tell somebody what to do. For that, please keep this engaging. One thing that I would like to know from the audience is that what kind of support or enablement are you looking at when you are looking at this session, or what do you want to derive from prompting? 1 or 2 tasks. You can share it in chat.
Question box is also better because chat में there are a lot
Yeah,
of things.
yeah. Question box,
Question
please. Yeah.
box. The answers can keep coming. You can start in the meanwhile if that's okay.
Sure,
We'll
sure.
yeah.
So meanwhile, I'll just start with this section where we are looking at using GenAI effectively, that is writing prompts. So while we start with this, I would like to cover why aspect first. Why you need to learn prompting in this era? You have been experts in your field, of course, with multiple years, decades of experience, already have lot to be shown when it comes to the kind of experiences you have. But emerging era and the advent of AI, there are a lot that is enabled effectively when it comes to using prompt.
Yeah, so we have
So what I,
someone, Mithun Mukundan. Sorry to interrupt. Mithun Mukundan MK is has mentioned that they would like a hands-on session on writing prompts on different AI platforms. So I thought I'll just keep conveying as
sure,
I get. Yeah.
yeah, sure. So what I've done here is that I'm starting this with certain use case that I believe as educators with the technical, say AICT curriculum, these things may help you. So lesson planning and concept simplification, whenever there are certain weaker students who need a simplified concept and how to have visual learners taken care of, auditory learners taken care of, there are certain aspects that it might help when you struggle or you say you face it a challenge. A right prompt can help you come up with an answer or a method which can help you communicate something simply to them. So generating analogies, step-by-step derivations, simplified concepts. So something like, and I've here shared some prompts as well that you can practice. So explain Ohm's law with a real-life analogy suitable for a first-year engineering students. Something like this, it will ensure that somebody who is struggling a bit, for them also you can have a simplified understanding tool enabled. Assessment and question bank creation is something that you can look at. Say you can have all of your content or your books at one place, and then have a MCQ or a question bank generated out of all the content that you have shared. So something like generate 10 conceptual MCQs on fluid mechanics for second year mechanical students is something that you can see. Similarly, research proposals you can make. There are certain LLM interfaces that helps you much more. I'll share the same with you. Lab manuals and experimentation support is something that you can look at. Student mentoring is something that you can look at. Continuous learning and upskilling for you and the student. That is also something. I have shared some of example prompts before we start. But yeah, research and proposal, last time the interactions happened, most of the queries had been on research and proposal citations. So as someone suggested that different hands-on sessions on different LLMs, I'll do that and I'll share some experiences of a research proposal or writing in place. So we'll start simply with the importance of writing effective prompts. Understanding what is a prompt. It's just simply the way we communicate. It's just much simpler, very simple. A prompt is a question or an instruction you give to an AI to get a response. It tells AI what you want and how you want it with clear directions, just like you give it to a student. Clearer the question, the better the answer. That being the basic understanding. So I'll just share a detailed uh, hands-on with you for the same. What we can do is that we can use one of the most popular large language model, that is ChatGPT. So while you go to ChatGPT, there is an option of auto. When you don't know which language models to use, that is when you are starting, this is the best option to look at. You can just simply go to ChatGPT. You can register your IDs, and then you can just select ChatGPT Auto, and you're good to go. So while this is said, why do good prompts matter? A clear or prompt gives focused, accurate results, while a vague prompt gives confusing results. An example is explain population density. So this, I'll just switch to this so that I can copy. If I'm just vaguely asking something, what it does is that it will just give an understanding, basic understanding of what it thinks due to the previously shared model examples. But when I'm very specific, say 150 words, explain the factors affecting population density in India for a class 12 student in 150 words. When you are specific of what is the audience, what is it that you specifically want to do, the result comes out very differently. And that exactly is the reason that, say, instead of all these complications that one will assume that you need, the LLM will assume, you can ask it to be simply sharing what exactly is your need and accordingly draft something. So that is why you need to have a specific, clear understanding what exactly to ask. So with that, I'll just focus on what are the main types of AI prompts. There are certain direct AI prompts, that is clear instruction to do a task. An example would be, say, list five causes of high population density. So what exactly is that you need? Instead of this, it can also be that list, I am facing X problem with X subject. What are the five top use cases of X uh, chapter or X subject? So it can give you a specific list of what are the top five use cases or uses of something that you are asking for. Indirect is something which encourages exploration and an open answer. So, say it's more like a question where you are asking it to think, analyze, and then get back to. Instead of a direct answer कि अच्छा ये चाहिए, ये मिल गया, पांच चीजें चाहिए आपको, पांच चीजें दे दिया. Instead, why do you need all this? So, an example here: why do you think some regions in India are densely populated? So when you ask specific thing, what happens is that it first analyzes based on all the data that it has, correlates to India, densely populated, why, what are the reasons, it goes through all the data and comes out with a specific answer. So these are the indirect kind of questions. There are certain contextual ones, basically adding background or environment. An example is that same question, but explain density to students living in a flood-prone area of Bihar. So these kind of contextual ones are very impactful when you are looking at a specific question, say specific topic, say law of conservation of energy. How does that apply to X? It can be running of cars. It can be the way food is generated, the way it helps farmers, something like that. So the context you give and the concept you give, he can analyze how that particular subject is helping masses. Another aspect can be creative. Say, when you are sharing something, inspiring an imagination aspect, that write a short story or a point of view of a river, watching people settle along its bank. So how something is happening, so one particular aspect of it, say when a river is flowing, from the point of view of the river, how people have settled along its bank. So it will act as the river is narrating the particular instance in which those settlements happen. So those kind of creative aspects also can be looked at. So one topic, same topic, same aspects, but being direct, indirect, contextual, or creative, it helps you generate more and more different kind of aspect, kind of answers or responses. So now the importance of writing effective prompts. You ask a question or prompt. This is the entire, once you ask something, say this being, you asked ChatGPT, explain the factors affecting population density. So background, what is happening is that first of all, the LLM, large language model, in this case, we are using ChatGPT. It can either be AI, Meta AI, it can be Gemini, it can be Perplexity. So what it does is that it first of all receives your text. The simple example of it would be when you are interacting with a student, the student hears the teacher's question, it hears what you are asking. Then the student will break it into pieces. We call this process tokenization. So token would be if you're talking about renewable energy and for school students. So those would be topics or tokens. So a student, if you are saying that, okay, write an essay for renewable energy for school students. So the token words, what exactly is it from all the words that has been shared for which an action is to be taken. So based on it, the tokenization happens. Once the LLM converts or breaks it into tokens, it understands the meaning or the context. It figures out what you want. It can be a short paragraph or a school level essay or something. When it comes to how the students are getting it, an example is that okay, the student will understand how I can write something easy or short for classmates. That is what the teacher has asked me to do. It will understand what exactly to do, based on which the pattern matching happens. That is the predictive next word. It uses what it has learned from the millions of text guesses, and it predicts what exactly is it that should come next. An example of it would be, say, you are asking for particular essay on a topic. So it will search through millions of data files on that particular topic. Then, if you want it to be for a specific role, a school student, so how school students have been interpreting or consuming the data on this particular topic, it will go through all the details, correlate, and then come up with an answer. In a simplest term, it can be like a student recalls examples of previous essays. Uh, a student would have gone through many classes. It understands that what is the context, how to structure that particular essay, uh, how the introduction aspect happens, how the detailing aspects happen, and how you close that particular essay, closing statements, that is. So based on that format that it already has the understanding about, it will write something. So same happens with the AI also. And then it builds a full answer. The LLM joins all predicted words into smooth sentences. And that is in a simple student interface, it would be like student finishes writing the paragraph neatly. Further, what happens is that it learns from the feedback. Once the large language model shares something, say it has shared something like this, you can then give a feedback like write it in a way that a PhD student will write. So you had previously asked factors for class 12 students in 150 words. But who's writing? A PhD student is writing for students. So it will understand that the PhD student will have certain expertise. At the same time, the expertise is to be conveyed in a very simple language. So using simple language, simple sentences, write something. That is how it understands, and it will redraft everything with a bit more of gravity in terms of how a PhD student will write it, but at the same time, simplicity with it, which a school student can understand. So that's how the entire background happens. Prompt, prompt followed by tokenization. Then the context is understood, based on which it refers to the millions of the database that it has and predicts what should come based on the query. And then it generates responses. And further, whenever you are giving a feedback, it will keep on refining that particular prompt. So, ye clear? There are certain hand raises, I believe. Any particular questions on question boxes?
Yes, there is. I'll just take it. Uh, why? There's one question. Rest has been answered.
Hmm.
Dr. S. Rahini Karthik is asking why ethical AI communication is not in India when it comes to research work. Often we hear that papers are refracted in some countries. They are accepting AI content in reference.
So that's a policy level thing, and say that's my view. I'll keep it as my view only. And it's not like that. In general, India is not doing that. It's something that specifically falls under the ambit of a particular university. I know of certain universities that have started doing this, but at a mass level, it still has to evolve. So that's a subjective response, I believe. not general.
Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you.
So now I'll just move on to the hands-on session aspects,
Yeah.
the basic fundamentals being clear. Popular LLMs, I have shared details of certain ones of amongst this. ChatGPT is something that we have already used. You also can use Claude AI. So I'll just share a certain details about all these aspects. Claude AI is
Yeah.
something
There's
that
one more question has come. Sorry to interrupt
yeah.
you. Pallavi Sakale is asking, what is zero shot or few shot learning? Is it related to prompt
It's actually it's quite technical. It doesn't fall fit under this particular uh,
topic? We'll be
topic.
taking it up in
Yeah,
another
it's a
session.
complex thing, and I believe it's covered in another 1.5 hours.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. It is covered in another session, Pallavi. So please, you keep joining our modules, keep joining our lectures. You will learn this thing in another class.
So this sessions particularly is for the practical aspect of prompting and image generation. So we can limit it to that, and there are the detailed technical aspects that are further covered. So I'll just go through some popular ones. ChatGPT is conversational reasoning, and it is one of the first models that came with a disruptive AI-based LLM. And it has evolved from ChatGPT models, different models. ChatGPT Model 4 was something that revolutionized in terms of coding, in terms of uh, detailed text generation and everything. And now we have ChatGPT 5, which automatically can understand and deliver what is being seen. Claude AI, you use Claude AI whenever you want to have text-based responses, better refined text-based responses. You can use Claude AI. Gemini, it's a Google initiative, and it eventually has integrated all the Google workspace, and strong reasoning and coding are the aspects that Gemini can use, and then Gemini is also very useful when it comes to image generation. I'll take you through the same. One of the research aspect, Perplexity is one particular product you can look at. It's one of the wonderful uh, LLMs apart from the chat GPT. I won't confuse going through each and every one. Specifics based on assessor faculty that will help you. I'll just limit to those considering the limitation of time. So Perplexity, whenever you want to ask for a particular subject detail, so research papers. So what Perplexity does good is that it will come up number one with the search results. Number two, it will also give you website details wherever you can access uh, all the further details that is required. What it also does is that whenever there is something it has searched, it will also show the source for the same. So all the citations and everything, say the Journal of Physics, Springer, wherever any topic you ask for, it comes up with the details and it will share. Say another aspect that helps you is that when even if you're committing some mistakes, it understands that here what I suggested was what is law of conservation of mass, but it understood on its own that it's law of conservation of mass, and accordingly it has given the response. So when you ask something like this to ChatGPT or Gemini, it won't give you citations at the onset. But here, the definition, where is this definition coming up? This is the particular resource from which it has derived. Similarly, what all, say, Byju's has a very good explanation of law of conservation of mass. It has already gone through it and recommending the same. There are examples. So examples for kids, Britannica, it is available, and there are certain other websites as well from which it is available. Similarly, you ask for any research paper topics, it will go through all the research paper. In the citations, it will also give the research paper details. So such is the working of Perplexity that is very unique. It will help you with the research aspects. Again, Copilot is something that is with Microsoft. All the new AI laptops comes with Copilot. Otherwise, copilot.microsoft.com is where you can access it. Copilot has also one more advantage, that if you have a full version of Microsoft, it can be embedded, integrated, and say Excel, there are certain plugins through which within Excel you can have a ChatGPT plugin. It will help you. Say you can just say, "Ki, I just need a formula to derive the average of this data." So it will tell you which particular columns to look at, what is the particular formula that you need, and where to apply it, and how to copy it so that the entire sheet also gets uh, adapted to this. So that's how the Copilot aspect works. Um, that integration is something for which Copilot is very good. Otherwise, Copilot again follows GPT-4. Perplexity and Copilot both have the GPT-4 model only. So ChatGPT is the main uh, base through which it interacts. Then something that has been very surprisingly come out well in the last 2 weeks is Meta AI. So it was something that was not that good initially, but last 2 3 weeks it has gone through some updates. What it does is that it is something that is integrated to your WhatsApp also, Facebook also, Instagram also. And some wonderful interventions have come up. I'll just take you through it uh, pretty soon. DeepSeek is something that is a LLM from China. It has gained widespread popularity in the recent months. It is low cost, it is almost free. Even if you want to, at a later stage, look at automations, this is one of the free tools that most of the people use when it comes to doing some research or practice before they go professional. So these are basic LLMs. I'll just take you through some of them. Before that, I'll just go through what exactly is a good prompt. It should contain clarity and brevity. Say, explain the process of rainfall is very specific rather than saying ki what are the detailed working of how rain happens. So, being specific is better than having a vague, long query in place. Then specificity, like write a short note for class 10th student of water cycle for on the water cycle. That is something that mentions the topic, grade, and format. Again, creativity that describe the water cycle through the journey of a raindrop, or open-endedness. List 3 ways of climate effects in farming in India. So these are the aspects that you can look at: clarity, specificity, creativity, and open-endedness. So the practical aspect would be, first of all, look at the task. What is it that you want AI to do? That task, when it is clear, say example, create a quiz. So then what you want is the topic, which lesson or a concept. Once you have that clarity, then you can look at the style, type of output that you want. Do you want something in form of a question, query, objective? Yeah.
There's a request to full screen your slide. Yes, thank you.
Then the tone is something, the manner of writing. Is it going to be educational, conversational? Do you want it to be, say, engaging, more engaging, formal, informal? That setting the tone is something that you can do. Audience, who will use it? What is it that you want, and for whom that is it that you want? Is it for your colleagues that you want some topic that you are searching for? So the quality of the writing needs to be at par. But if it is for a student, it can be a bit simpler. If it is for a school student or a kid, it needs to be specific for a 10-year-old or class 12 student or whatever it is. So knowing the audience, and whenever you are defining a prompt, ask, mention what who the particular uh, audience is. And then the length. Do you want a 350 page intervention? Do you want a 150 word output? That is something that you can look at. And format. So how the final output should look at. So an example is that here I have asked the topic, create a quiz, explain concepts, write notes on what the topic is: population distribution and density of India. Style, it should be multiple choice question. Tone, educational yet engaging. Audience, class 12 students for CBSE. Length, it's a 10 question with answer. Format, it should be final look of output, that is numbered list or question and answer. So I just copy the prompt and I can paste it here. Now what it is doing is that it went through all the CBSE websites, download or referred to all the subjects. Learn CBSE is something that it has used, and there are further different kind of educational websites through which the questions reference has been taken. It went through everything and then it has created a set of questions. So you can also use the same for some complex topics that you wanted to do. The same we can use ChatGPT also to do. So hands-on, the most perfect, say the simplest aspect would be use ChatGPT and generate it. But if you want citations and everything, you can use Perplexity. If you want certain essay kind of or a research aspect kind of thing, you can use Claude. So those three are my go-to LLMs when I need a specific thing. So now I'll also show you one aspect where, say, prompting seems to be a bit complex for you, but I'll show the hands-on way. Say, ask me to build a prompt based on the following parameters. I can share the same parameters that I just say task, topic, style. I can just limit it to audience. So what it does is that it will now So it will point by point ask what is the task. So task I can say create an article on road safety in India. So then it is asking what is the task particular I have shared. Then the topic. Topic I can say is on government policies. So once it understands, it starts giving me the options as well, which helps me build a better prompt. Now it is asking for the style. So I can say it should be, analysis and policy focused, and audience. Audience would be, so based on this, ChatGPT itself has created a prompt. So whenever you have certain doubt, you can use those particular rules that I just mentioned here, steps, based on which you can ask ChatGPT itself to help you generate a prompt. Once you generate it, then you can just paste that particular prompt that ChatGPT has made, based on which it will create an article or whatever uh, the request was. The hands-on, this is how it works. The same you can do with Perplexity. With Perplexity, now those citations that I mentioned for a research paper, it will come out really well. For an article, that is. I just pasted the same here. So it's going through all the material that it can find online, based on which it is coming up with the citations as well. For each data where this data has been sourced from, it is mentioning all the citations here. So in this way, you can start generating prompt. Another simple way would be that I'll just take a new chat. You can just ask ChatGPT, help me create a detailed prompt based on rules, or I'll go much simpler, based on popular algorithms and models. Ask questions to help me create a prompt. Give me options with numbers to choose. So what it has done is that it is for each section, it is giving me options, but it has done it everything's at the same time. So I can just look at it and I can just give an example like this. He, for question number one, give me the fourth option and such, or I can just ask it. He asked me one question at a time. So what I can say here, analytical report is something that I want for machine learning. And it is for 5 technology or AI-based products. The tone should be academic or strategic. And it should be at an intermediate level. And the outcome that I am looking at is uh, identify opportunities to integrate machine learning models. So now it is asking, do you want a generic one or a tailored specific one? I can say tailored specific one. Now, which domain is it for? I can say EdTech and research driven. So now it has created an entire prompt template. See, these are longer versions of detailed prompts that you can look at. It generates all the structures, all the keywords, everything, and you can use it, copy, paste, and you can have a detailed outcome. You can have such, just mention the topic. I want a detailed prompt to help me understand or help me research on X topic. I want uh, responses. Help me with certain, understand the task, help me with options, and give me numbers to choose. Choose the numbers, and it will come with a detailed prompt, and you can use such a detailed prompt for prompting. So this is one aspect. Even if you want to go simpler than this, one of the simplest method is that go to chat GPT prompt library. So you have a prompt library within ChatGPT. Otherwise, this is one of the ChatGPT chatbot.io. That is one very interesting library for prompts. What you can do is that if you are looking at categories of education, so within education, how you ask certain questions. Say here, explain Pareto principle knowledge and accelerator. So what is the prompt that you can use? Act as an essay writer, act as a public coaching expert. So there are many such, or you can look for a specific prompt. Use this. You can view the prompt here, detailed prompts. You can either learn from these particular prompts, or you can also copy the same, paste it, and you're good to go.
There are a
So there
couple
is
of questions. Yeah, couple of questions are there.
yeah.
I think Dr. Muthu Vairavaran Pillai is asking whether both AI will give the same result.
No, it's a bit different, and that's where if you're looking at citations, go for perplexity. What perplexity does is that it focuses on the research aspect more. At the same time, GPT will give you a general detailed one. Claude is something that will give you a research-based, article-based, long test outputs. So these
Right.
are certain differences.
Yeah, so this is basically will help to answer Dr. Vidya A is also asking which GenAI is more reliable. So I think you just explained the various things about each of the tools. Her next question is, will research papers written using AI as a tool be accepted? What
No,
percentage of
see,
AI is
that
considered
is one, as an
acceptable?
educator, you need to understand something. It's almost like when digital libraries came into existence, previously people used to quote from books. So once PDFs were available, so people started, some educators started copying the entire PDF and creating PPTs. Others use that time to refer to, instead of one book, refer to six books, take pointers, and based on that pointer, create something of their own. So you use AI not to create something, but to help you as a tool to gather more information in a shorter period of time, understand. It also helps you correlate better. So correlate, consume more details at a shorter time, and then start creating something on your own. Please don't just copy paste. Copy pasting is copy pasting whether you use it in Word, through PDF, or through AI. There is no difference. It is copy pasting. But
Correct, correct.
analyzing is something that any tool you can use it with books, you can use it with PDFs, or you can use AI to do that.
Right. Thank you so much. I'll take the next question.
Hmm.
Uh, okay, she's saying, Dr. Vidya is saying that I did not mean to use AI completely. I wanted to ask what extent is permissible.
Extent permissible means how much you can copy from.
I guess,
If
yes,
that
that's
is
what she
if
means.
that
Yeah.
is the case, then I believe not more than 5%, I believe. 5 or 15, that is something that academically it also ranges from university to university. But most of the universities now say that nothing more than 15% should be part of it. Whenever you are using any AI detector, uh, and there's this another aspect that whenever you somebody is using prompts, you can just say that use simple. It's very easy to use simple English and short sentences.
Um,
Read on.
right. I think,
Yeah.
okay, she's asking, she wanted to ask how we can use AI as a tool, not copy paste. That's
I didn't get the question, Gauna.
basically she's saying that uh, saying that how can I use AI as a tool? I think you have already explained that you can use it to get research material and citations, and no need to copy from there. So I think, I hope that answers your question, ma'am. And as you said, that 15% can be used, but not more than that. So I guess that answers a question. I'll move on to the next question. Mr. Gadagotu Bindu is asking, can you please explore research areas in future on AI domain?
Come again?
Can you please explore what are the research areas in future on AI domain?
I didn't get the question. Sorry.
You'll have to be more clear. I think even I'm not able
Yeah.
to understand the question. There's one more question. Yeah, Vidya ma'am is saying thank you. I think she got the answer that she was looking for. Mr. A. Satya is asking, can you post the stepwise questions we can ask to generate prompt? I think you've already shown that slide. So I think that's also done. Right. Right. I think we are done with the questions. Yeah.
Okay. So moving on. Certain ways that helps you write prompts better. Talk like a person, natural tone, asking follow-ups, setting the stage or context. Without context or background, prompting effect goes down. So one of the most important aspect of prompts is setting up the context. Or say now a more refined field is coming up, that is context engineering. Without context engineering, prompt engineering also doesn't add much value. Say a question like show me 5 ways to use technical knowledge on ground. So technical aspects, there can be n number of things. But once you say, show me a way of using X theory of physics and how it can help you on a daily basis. That context helps you with the same question get a more refined response. So assigning a role, tell AI who it is, and that is one particular aspect of context engineering. Say I am telling a AI model ki assume a role of a manager and tell me how to do a task. So it will most probably give me a system-wise, step-wise answer. I will do this and do this and do this and create a SOP. But at the same time, if I say, assume you are a leader or a CEO of an organization, and how will you ensure that your team does the work better? So it will look at the aspects of how KPI should be defined for an organization, how the training should happen, how the entire roadmap will ensure that pre-test, post-test, and everything happens, and you have a specific roadmap available. So, what exactly is the role for which a query is seeked? That is absolutely important. Keeping it on track, that is remind, focus, or ask for reasoning. Ask to reread, and focus on accuracy. So that is one aspect that is very interesting. Whenever, say, again, I'll share. example. So this is one of the prompts that already was in the memory. If I'm asking it again, write an analytical or policy focused article. So what it does is that it will read through, and there is a basic format that is applicable for almost 90% of the people. Overall, through all the training, any large language model understands that whatever the query is, once you ask, it will give the answer, and the first answer would be something that is okay for 90% or 99% of the people. But as an educator, you might see that there is a bit of feedback required for just saying that reread something. So what it does is that it will entirely go through, or say there is something called deep research. It will use deep research algorithms and then come back with a better refined model. So here it is already doing a deep research because the prompt that we have given, it's very detailed. So it thought for a minute or something, and then it has generated all the data, everything, and come up with this data. Now, if I feel that it needs to go beyond this, I can say reread, uh, do some deeper research, and get back with a revised draft. Something like that, which says reread, do some deeper research. What it will did do is that uh, it will skip giving you an answer that the average answer that it gives almost 90% of the people. And it will look at rereading, redrafting it. It hasn't finished what it had started. But once it does, it will just start doing some deeper research. This will take 2 or 3 minutes. Previously it took 1 minute. This will take 2 or 3 minutes, but it will give you better researched data. So rereading is one aspect that you can look at, and experiment with new styles. So you can say same thing. You can say ki, how explain this to 5-year-old, explain this to 10-year-old, explain this to a student who is a visual learner, explain this to a student who is an auditory learner. So keep on experimenting with your prompts. It will give you very interesting responses that way. And build on the last answer. Refine, refine, refine. Whenever you ask something, it gives you one response, and build on the last answer. And when nothing works, stop with that particular thread of questions, start afresh, restart the particular chat, and you might get more clarity. Because once you start asking questions and the responses are not going at in a particular level, it also gives you an understanding what exactly to ask again. So better to start afresh with a new thread. So these are basic things, and please don't include personal or confidential info whenever you are using a large language model, because it is always learning. So once you start sharing your personal info, it will next time it will remember it, and it will also share the same with you, and it might include that also in the large language model that already has. So it is advisable not to use personal or confidential info whenever you are prompting. So here it has again read everything and come up with a better data. So that is something that you can try. So key takeaways is prompt writing is a lesson planning. Clear objectives is something that you need. So basic clears plus specific plus creative plus open. These are the powerful AI responses. You need to practice a lot, and say day 1 to day 15, you yourself will see how much the difference has come up. And stick to the basics, assign a role, give it a detail, and most of the time, ask ChatGPT or any large language model to help you create a particular prompt, and then use that particular prompt to generate your responses. That is also a good way. And every prompt is a step towards making AI your teaching assistant. And that is what you should aim at. The AI should not be something that replaces you. It should be something that helps you get all the content that you can analyze, record, and then come up with your own unique outputs. So that is the aspect for prompt engineering. One, we have limited time for, but yeah, I would like you to look at one particular tool that can help you all as educators. The name of the tool is Notebook LM. That is a Google tool. How it works is that you can just create a new notebook. I just used it recently for something. I'll just with the limited time available, I can just limit it to this. It's 1984 is a name of a book that I have used. I just uploaded. I can add one book. I can add 10 or 15 research articles here. Or say for a particular chapter, particular topic, I can have 15 or 10 or 15 books, add everything in here. Just add open sources. It can be an article, it can be a Word document, it can be a PDF, it can be an online link. I can add everything. So what it does is that it just refers to these particular data. What happens is that when you are asking a large language model, it will go through entire web and search. But however, if you want just any LLM to focus on a very specific thing, it can be one PDF. So it will just go through that. So here, what I have done is this is a model 19. It's a novel. 1984 is the name of the novel. I have just shared the same, and here it has started summarizing everything. I can just chat with this particular novel. What
Is
is
this
it
a
that
free? Is it a free tool?
it's a free tool. So I can say say what are the general philosophies underlined here in this book. So it will go through everything. You can say that what are the basic uh, formulas or basic principles that help me with X topic or Y topic. So it will go through everything. So you can just literally chat with any document. And this is one very specific thing for educators because one or three or 15 or however it may, just limit your search to these particular sources and you can chat with this. Another good thing about this is that it can help you create audio. So you can create podcast with this. So you want two people to discuss 1984 book and review it and share a basic. See, this is I have already created a podcast of this because I like to. So what I do is that whenever I have some good book, I will create a podcast. So this is the podcast. Oh, this is the video that I created. You can also create certain videos.
Where can we see this?
Notebook 11.
No, no. If somebody wants to hear your podcast or your, is it available on the social media or something? Or it's just for your personal use?
I can download it and share it with everybody. Say, it's this only.
Yeah. Okay, great. There's one question also. I think you
Yes.
can answer it along with this, that how to create prompts optimized for accuracy versus creativity. That's a question from Dr. Sri Lakshmi Prasanna.
Sri Lakshmi, just ask ChatGPT. Say, I'll just show you. Prompt whatever the topic is. Uh, explain rainfall to me. Be accurate. in scientific terms or whatever you want. It will do that. The same thing I can say. So scientific explanation, everything it is giving. So now I can say, explain rainfall to me from the perspective of a sparrow which is enjoying it. This becomes a creative aspect. So is the sparrow's view now. So what exactly is rain for it? What kind of joy it brings to it, everything. So this is, you can have a creative aspect, you can have a technical aspect. All depends on the time kind of prompts you use. Also to note is that there is a poetic, it will also suggest something at the end. Here it is suggesting that, okay, this is a creative perspective. So do you want a poetic style of it? I can just say yes, and it will go on and create a poem out of it. So everything is upon your say. This is where the human intelligence aspect comes up. Think of anything, and it can correlate, analyze, and get you some very interesting results. Hope that answers. So Notebook LM is something that I just wanted you to see. It helps you create mind maps. It helps you create quiz, flashcards, and then podcasts as well. So within the interest of time, I'm just limiting it to this, but just click on whatever you want and it will create it. It's that simple. Please do explore a Notebook LM further. So these are new tools, and every week or two, something or other will come up. So you can keep on exploring for all the features. Now I'll just very quickly move on to image generation aspect. So what exactly is image generation? So Midjourney was something that with which, as ChatGPT did, OpenAI also had this Midjourney AI, through which image generation aspects came up. Now we have whole lot of new platforms through which image generation happens. Midjourney is very refined as of now, but it is paid. I'll help you, sir. I'll refer you with Gemini Nano Banana. That's one of the most recent and effective models to help you understand how exactly to go with image generation. So what it is that it's an AI generator that turns text or image to prompt. How it works is that a platform called Discord or a particular engine in which a prompt goes and AI interprets, much similar to the tokenization and the entire flow that I mentioned for a prompt. And you can have customization, as I mentioned, with the basic prompts, and it is very easy to use because just by prompting, uh, previously we looked at how we can generate text, but here with prompting, you can generate wonderful images. So that's another aspect of, and the key features as well, multiple styles you can generate. There is a fine tuning or editing aspect. API automations can be possible, and there is a learning algorithm that continuously helps you to improve and add styles over the time. It More people all over the world keeps on using image generation, new kind of initiatives comes up. Say a lot of people used prompts like keep aspect ratio 16 is to 10 or something like that, then that also become a kind of style of prompting. So it also registers what the user wants all over the world and keeps on adding to its prompting options. So I'll just go to how gen- image generation aspect works. Kamna, how much time do I have? Okay, I believe it's 10-15 minutes. I'll just go through it quickly. So, any kind of image generation, how it works is there is one aspect called general adversarial network. So, generative adversarial network, what it does is that there is a generator and a discriminator. It is almost like chore police or a thief and a police. So, how it creates an image is that the generator will always, whenever you are giving a particular prompt, say Mona Lisa. you want an image of a Mona Lisa. So the generator will start creating different, it will go through all the images that it has been trained upon, and it will start creating something. And the discriminator is another program that itself has been trained on all the images. So one images has been trained, one model has been trained to refer to millions of pictures and create something. The other model, that is discriminator model, that has been trained using the same set of pictures to come up with, to screen those and say, is it looking like the image that I have been trained upon or not? So whenever you are giving a prompt, how the background works is that the generator will create something much similar to what you see in the image. Say it comes up with a line drawing. The discriminator will say, no, it is not what the user is looking for. And it keeps on doing this hundreds to thousands of times till a refined image comes up. That is why whenever you are using an image generator, it starts with a blur and it eventually goes to a clear image. I'll share a hands-on example of this. Here I'll use Gemini. That's the Google large language model, Google Gemini. So Gemini, again, any other, like any other large language model, you can use use prompt to generate text. But here you can also use this to create an image. Of course, you can use ChatGPT also to create an image. It takes a bit more time, and the quality of the image, it's better and comes out more swiftly in Nano Banana. So here, just say it's suggesting some images as well. Create an image of henna designs is something that I just prompted, selected from the uh, options available. So it started, it does it so swiftly now that you could see that blur for just a second, and then it has created an image. So there is another very interesting uh, LLM now, that is Meta AI. This is from Facebook. This is also something that you can use to generate something similar. You can just go in it, say create an image. You can just select an image or video. And the good thing is that Meta AI, as of now, video generation is free. So immense use of that. Whenever you are generating an image, say you might be having a alumni meet or something coming up in your university or college. So you can say create a alumni meet poster for, I'll use NIT Bhopal. The event is on 27th December. Simple as that. So while this is being created, I'll just go back to the generator and discriminator aspect. Here it will say it started with blur and immediately some image came up.
Vidya Lakshmi is saying that she's not able to see your screen. I am able to see your screen. Are others able to see your screen? Please put in the chat box. We are able to see the screen.
Okay, the window
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
selection. Uh, it would be
I
the
think
window selection only. Hmm.
she needs to select the correct window. I think everyone can see. Vidyaji, you need to check your settings. Yeah, please go ahead.
So now that we understand how the image generation aspect works, I'll just move to how to write a good prompt. So choose image style. When it's a bit different from how you use prompting for text. Here you can mention the image style, define the look, painting. Do you want a painting, a digital art, a cartoon, or what exactly it is? You can also mention if you want the image to be taken from a particular camera, you can say the name of the camera, those who are technically more sound. Say Canon R5 being the image, the DSLR, 50 being the lens. Use that to take a photo of Himalayan village, and the aspect ratio should be 3:2. Width should be 3 and height should be 2 or something like that. You can mention it. Then subject, describe the main focus, the number, type, and action. Say 3 trucks on a mountain road carrying supplies is what you want to be displayed in that particular Himalayan village picture. The environment should be something that you can add background setting for realism. Trucks crossing a snow-covered pass in Himachal Pradesh, something like this. Lighting is something that you can mention it. You can say the image should be taken in the morning, evening, afternoon, the golden hour when the sunlight is fading out or coming in. Angles and views are also something that you can mention. So once you do that, you will get a simple.
Uh, there is a follow-up question on Notebook LM.
Yeah.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mr. Amrendra Singh is asking if Notebook LM. Oh, this is very cool. The poster is very cool.
Yeah, this is just I
Yeah.
just posted for NIT Bhopal alumni meet. I can just add a picture of my college and say use
Yeah.
that particular image and create an.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll come back to the question. Amarendra
Yeah.
Singh is asking if Notebook LM can autonomously detect misinformation or contradiction with its ingested sources. I don't think so.
Yeah. It
It
can do
can.
that. It can whatever say if it is one file or 10 file. Very interesting aspect. You can have 3 articles with genuine data, one article with data that might be from some student or something. It can go through all the data and it will say that key data in 3 documents is right and the fourth one there is an error.
Okay, great.
So how to use it is that we have all your documents, details, curriculum course updated. Whenever a student's assessment comes up, you can upload that and say, ki, analyze this particular assessment, assess this particular article using all the content, and tell me what has been the best parts and where the student has to improve. It will tell, you just directly ask if it is some real work or fake, is the data real or no. You can chat with that assessment, student assessment. Literally, you can chat with that and the assessment itself will tell you if it is real or not. So those these are the aspects. Coming back to the image generation, see, within the limited time, I'll just tell you one aspect that uh, learning on different kind of images, how to create. There is a Nano Banana prompt website. Nano Banana prompt is the name. I'll just for reference, I'll just share it in chat. You can just literally go to this particular website and explore prompts. So here, there are examples like this is a moreover, it's based on trends. You can upload one image and you can say that transform the person into a figurine. There is this particular prompt. You can copy the prompt, upload your image, and it will create a figurine. Or say something like if it's a picture of your dog or something you want to edit it, you can do the same as well. So there are a lot of things that you can do and many different kind of images that you can generate. The good thing about this website is that you can literally copy one kind of prompt, edit that particular prompt with something that you yourself want, and you can have something. Uh, say this is one aspect where you can upload just one image and ask Nano Banana or any other uh, image generation aspect to create multiple angle headshots for the particular person. It will create it. So there are a lot that can be done. This is something that is very interesting. Just take a normal picture of somebody that you know, upload it. I'll show it to you. Say, this Piyush Pandey is something that I believe it was a major loss. I'm just using his picture. I can just add an image of Piyush Pandey and I'm just saying that create a corporate headshot of this person. So many students, what happens is that they might be needing a passport size photo or something, and they might not be having a soft copy which can be printed. And also for yourself also, if you want a corporate headshot of your own, you can have this in person.
So this is Nano Banana. Or this is
This is
Gem.
Nano Banana, but you can do the same in Meta AI. These are the two. Meta AI has emerged to be something amazing now. So I'll just say I just practiced it here, but I'll say explain uh, law of any suggestion. What exactly would you like me to explain? Anybody can give me a query. I'll create a visual explanation of the same of any law or something, and then I can create a video as well. Any suggestions?
Nothing
Quantum
has
physics.
come up. Nothing has
Quantum
come up.
physics.
Quantum physics, yes.
Hmm. Okay. I'll use Meta AI here. Explain law of quantum physics in a artistic way. And I
We
can
are
still create an
almost
image.
on the clock.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
to be a
Let
tight
this be
control.
the last one. So
Yeah.
what it does is that it will say here you can see that generator and discriminator working. It is starting from a blur and slowly the gray in the blur is increasing. Eventually, this will lead to a image. So while that happens, I just had previously given this that law of conservation. It is here. So you can see that it is blurred and the blur is being converted to a clear image with each passing second. So thousands of times the discriminator and generator are conflicting with each other and refining this particular image. So this is something I tried. I'll just explain meanwhile. I just gave a example that law of conservation of mass. Describe, just create an image which explains it. So it is showing me in an artistic way that whatever is being created here remains in it. It can change form from solid to gas or something, but it remains within this particular thing. So then I just said that animate this. Ah, quantum physics. So it has created certain images here itself, and it is giving you options also. Meanwhile, this conservation of mass aspect that also I have animated. So you can create videos like interesting videos like this, add it to your PowerPoints, both images and videos, and have a very interesting session for your students. So Meta AI is something for both image generation and video generation. It has come up with such interesting features since last 2 weeks. So most of the people, I believe, whosoever is interested in image generation and video generation, this is absolutely free. This also has lot of aspect ratios and aesthetics and everything. There are settings to control it, and you can create some wonderful images and text and videos as well. So these are certain aspects. I think any Q&A aspect, I'm open to it. Otherwise, we can wind up.
We are almost on time, and we have the next speaker who has also joined. Otherwise, we would have gone on and on to learn about these interesting tools that you've been talking about. Very interesting, and I'm sure the audience on all the faculty members learned a lot from all the tips that you gave, all the new tools that you shared, and how to use AI effectively to get their students more engaged. I think thank you so much for joining in. And
Thank you, Donna. Thank you, everyone.
just to let the faculty members know that he'll be taking one more session. So please do stay tuned in. If you have any more questions, we will take it up in the next session. Thank you, Srijit.
Yeah,
And
I'll
I'll
reserve
now,
5 minutes for any questions or queries next time. Yeah.
yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
we'll start with that. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Bye.
And now I'm very happy to welcome Mr. Akbar Mohammed to the online faculty development session. Thank you so much, Akbar, for joining us. And I will just introduce you to the group. The session is GenAI in pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and mental health. And we are very privileged to have Mr. Akbar Mohammed join us. He's head of Fractal Dimension at Fractal AI. He believes in living at the intersection of cutting edge AI and real world impact. So basically, how you're using AI to solve real world complex problems and into practical solutions. He has architected AI platforms across verticals like healthcare, retail, and telecom. He has built training programs for data scientists, implementation teams, and cross functional groups. He has expertise in GenAI systems, MLOps, LLM ops, and enterprise AI platforms. He's passionate about making technical concepts accessible and actionable. He's a patent holder for responsible AI systems and machines. We are very privileged to have you with us. I'll urge the audience to engage and ask as many questions as possible and learn. This is an opportunity to learn from the very best in industry. So please make use of this opportunity. And over to you, Akbar, for your session. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kamala. Thanks for that introduction. And thanks, folks, for having me. I will, quickly get started. Give me a second. I'll share my screen. So for today, what I had done is I basically collected a bunch of my learnings in the industry and how GenAI is transforming not just businesses, but actually creating real world impact. There are some interesting solutions that people have already created, and now it's becoming more enhanced because of GenAI. I want to talk you through that. In terms of agenda, right? So everything in AI or anything analytics driven, it starts with data, right? I want to tell you the ecosystem of healthcare data first, and then we can go into different subdomains of healthcare. Obviously, this is not exhaustive, but this will give you an idea of places where GenAI or AI is making impact. With that, let me get started. Okay, before that, some ground rules, like I'll pause at different points and feel free to put your questions on the chat window, and I'll pick them up as we go along this curriculum. And do ask questions. I do want to engage with folks here. That way, both you and I can learn together.
Yeah, and please make your slides full screen. There's a request from Mr. Mithun Mukandan.
Yes, give me a second. Okay, this is better. Maybe
yes, absolutely.
All right. So the first thing is, let me talk to you about the data itself, right? For those who don't know, most traditionally data is very structured, right? When I say structured, think of spreadsheets, rows and columns where you have numbers, right? But a lot of the data that we generate as humans is unstructured. It could be images, it could be sound, it could be audio, it could be many things, right? And healthcare is a space where there's a lot of unstructured data. Okay. Now that AI has become really powerful and useful, we are starting to leverage this unstructured data more fully. Okay. Now, where does healthcare data come from, right? There could be data from patient records. Think about the last time you went for a doctor's visit or a hospital visit. Imagine the number of interactions that you've had. Everything from checking in. Let's say if you're going to a hospital, checking into at the reception, filling up forms. If it's a major case, you are also filling up insurance claims. Obviously, somebody's helping you. Then you're having a interaction with different medical professionals. There are notes being collected, both from your side and from the practitioner side. That's also data. And this data gets synthesized by many teams. It's not just one person looking at that data. It could be you, it could be the doctor, it could be maybe a referred doctor. So there are a chain of things that are happening with that data. In the past, these things used to be very manual, but since digitization, a lot of this has become accessible to many more entities. And now we're also using that same data infrastructure to also develop GenAI applications. Okay, I'll give you a glimpse of maybe what it means, right? Think of all these aspects, right? Like if you're a patient, there are doctors and nurses talking to you, there are pharmacies, there are labs and imaging companies that are, interacting with your information. There are bills, there are insurers, there are also tools, like there are apps that are collecting data. All of this is information that the healthcare ecosystem both generates and consumes. What does that mean, right? Like the data growth in healthcare globally is about 36%. So every year, about 1/3 of the data keeps getting regenerated. It could be for various reasons, right? It could be major incidents, it could be mortality based. There are new kids being born, they have their own journeys. And most of it tends to be unstructured. 80% of healthcare data is claimed to be unstructured. Yes, this number is probably a lot more conservative. I would argue that it is a lot more now. And all of this is important, especially from an AI perspective, because the value of solving healthcare problems is very high. If you know the cost that we spend globally, it's about $4.3 trillion, and this is a WHO estimate. And there are also like problems. Like there are existing problems within the healthcare industry. Things like there are burnouts because there are there are very few doctors and there are many patients. They are constantly engaging with distressed patients. There are errors, because a lot of things happen manually, even digitally. Things tend to have errors, and it's very persistent across systems. And there are inefficiencies because things are inefficient. I've seen healthcare in the US quite closely. It's probably the best in the world, but it's also the most inefficient and expensive. It's a ridiculous system there. I'm actually glad that we are in India and we don't have the same cost levels as it is in the US. It's changing, but these are healthcare problems, and the data also has its own kind of problems. Okay. Now, while these problems exist, it also means there are opportunities, and because the AI itself has become so advanced, we have techniques today that can pretty much interpret any unstructured data. And I say any unstructured data, it could be, X-rays, it could be 3D medical images. It could even be, patient doctor interactions. They're all recorded. with high degree of accuracy. That's the place where we are in because of GenAI. So this basically means we can exploit this data, right? 30% of the data, world's data volume, is idle, right? 80% of it is sitting unused, and it mostly is unstructured. What we can now do is we can consume that data. We can either improve operations. When I say operations, the way we interact with patients, the way we make insurance claims, like healthcare insurance claims, the way we analyze data, all of those things can be done more effectively. The second thing that this data can help us with is also finding new insights. Okay. Finding new insights or even diagnosis much more quickly. Earlier, we used to spend a lot of time doing research, trying to find maybe a small nugget of insight that can help accelerate research in the healthcare space. Now, what we can do is we can pretty much dump all the knowledge that we have in the world or healthcare knowledge in the world and let a machine come up with new insights. There are some interesting solutions like I'm not sure how many of you know about the protein folding problem. Up until 2000s, it used to take about 15 to 20 years to solve one protein molecule's structure. Only in the I think 2000s we started creating these AI models to learn how we uncovered those protein structures, and then slowly that the pace at which we were discovering protein structures increased. It reduced from 10, 15 years to now 5 years, and then all that suddenly changed because of improvements in GenAI, specifically GenAI. We managed to do almost 10 years of work within a few days. So that's the power of AI. The techniques are so great now. It's able to learn from human intelligence, also combine knowledge from different sources and come up with new knowledge of its own. That's the potential. How do we leverage all this data in healthcare and come up with new solutions? India has a unique opportunity here. We have about 1.4 billion patients. Again, a lot of us probably talk in different languages. The patient journeys are very personal. How do we leverage AI is a unique opportunity for India. We also generate a lot of data. It's also becoming digitized. I think there are lots of programs that the government is putting out that is going to make us far more advanced than some of these developed countries, where we can leverage our own data to come up with new insights. We can do that through GenAI. Okay, I'll pause here for any questions before I move on to the next one.
There is a question, but they want you to take it up at the end that what is blockchain's role in healthcare privacy and security? They've requested, it's an anonymous attendee, and
Okay.
they want you to touch upon it at the end of the session. So
Okay. Hopefully no questions on data.
nothing as
Okay.
yet.
Yeah. So let me maybe talk about my personal experience, right? Like when I was starting my career, the data sets tend to be small. We used to get them in spreadsheets at the max, and we didn't even have the machines to solve those problems at scale. So we used to spend a lot of money on servers to solve very tiny data set problems. It's only until 2014 when big data, I don't know how many of you have remember this term, it still continues to be used. There was something called as big data. We started to get technology that could work with large amounts of data, large amounts of structured data. At that point, we started to leverage more advanced AI techniques. And then healthcare also became a little more advanced. They started, leveraging AI models to predict different kinds of issues. One of the things I was developing was, how do I predict if a patient is diabetic, can become diabetic in the next 3 months? That's a combination of, looking at past patient histories and seeing if there are any behavioral changes, blood tests that could indicate that this person is at risk of becoming diabetic. So we had those models then. Now that I think since 2014, the techniques have become a little more advanced. Actually, they've become a lot more advanced. Machines were now able to, look at images, identify objects automatically. So those techniques started helping us in healthcare as well. So we started leveraging imaging data. We started leveraging MRI scans, and then our models became a lot more sophisticated, a lot more accurate. Okay, so that's what's happening. That's what's happened in the past 10, 15 years since the time I've been in the industry. And now with Gen AI, that has become even more sharp, right? And now I don't think there's anybody who doesn't use Gen AI to solve highly advanced technical problems. Okay, so that's what's happening. What I'll do now is maybe look at patient care specifically. Unlike traditional AI, where we needed a lot of clean data, Gen AI tends to be a little more forgiving. You can, make spelling mistakes. You can even make errors in thought or, critical thinking. You can still interpret some of the intelligence or some of the insight that is within the context that you're sharing, and use this in real world patient data. So imagine a scenario where like you are a patient, you don't know how to describe your problem, right? Doctors are trained to interpret your problems. They have a specific approach to identifying your symptoms and then diagnosing the problems. That same process we have now AI that can replicate. So that's where we are. Let me know if I'm going too fast. I think I may be rushing. What this is allowing us to do, I'm going to touch on two different areas. One is medical imaging, and the second one is on personalization. In medical imaging, what's happened is we are now creating AI that can augment skills of trained doctors. The first area that I think AI started to target was radiology. Since AI was now able to interpret objects in images, radiology was like a simple zone, because there again, you have a human looking at X-rays or medical images and trying to identify if there are problems or not. Okay. We could do the same thing with AI. You could pass a very rough image of your X-ray or the full scan of your X-ray, and you can train an AI to identify extremely minute problems. We have companies today. There's an Indian company that's also in the mix, and that's doing great, right? You can just take your X-ray, send it to a machine, and the machine will quickly identify if it's normal, or if there are issues that you should relook at, the doctor should relook at, or if there's a real problem. Okay, and that problems can be extremely tiny, and the machines are able to detect that much more better than most radiologists. There are studies that have been done where a panel of radiologists versus AI agents tried to diagnose different radiology or X-ray or MRI scans. The AI tends to be a little more better and more consistent than human doctors. It's known. So that's one area. The second area is something that most platform companies or hardware companies are also involved in, which is creating synthetic medical images. Okay, let me talk to you about synthetic medical images. I think the previous trainer was also talking about synthetic images, right? In the healthcare world, most of your data is protected. I cannot, or rather, people who are handling my medical history are not allowed to share that history with anybody else unless it's another medical practitioner or It's required by law. So most countries have a very strict policy around how your medical data is treated, right? In the past, it used to be difficult. So I could be somebody who has a lot of data with me, but I can't share that, right? Because it's of real people. Now, since we have AI that can create synthetic images, now what I can do is I can train an AI, but create synthetic versions of data using that trained AI model. And then I can share those synthetic versions because they're not based on real people. What that allows us to do, at least from my industry perspective, is other players can use those synthetically generated images. And the synthetic generated images are high quality. They have a lot of detail within them. It's not like they are rough sketches. They are, if you've seen the images that were being generated in your previous session, imagine the same thing in the medical space, right? It can recreate specific health issues. It can even, understand relationships within your body structure and recreate that with extreme accuracy. You can generate those images and then share it with your industry partners. And what industry partners can do is build solutions on top of them. This was not possible earlier. Now that we have synthetic data, we have a bigger ecosystem that can create more solutions, more healthcare solutions. And that's benefiting the entire industry as well as for patients, right? The second thing where synthetic imaging helps us is in simulating potential issues, right? It could be maybe problems we haven't seen before. If you want to do research on that, the AI that got trained in synthetic image generation can also give you insights on potential problems that patients could have, but which haven't been observed in real life. So that's another place where synthetic images are very useful. So that's
There's
something.
a related question, so I thought I'll just put it up right
Sure.
now. Uh, Dr. Varsha Desai is asking, what are the research opportunities of GenAI for patient rehabilitation? Is that something you want to take up now or
Uh,
later?
yeah, rehabilitation, like what, physically or like what's the zone? There are, in terms of rehabilitation, there are a couple of places, especially in the language space, like mental patients who are going through different mental issues. There are programs that AI can create. It's a combination of AI and humans, and they go through that program, and it's all curated by specialists. That's one kind of rehabilitation that I'm aware of. There are experimental zones, for example, people who can't speak. I'm sure you must have heard about the implants that I forget the name of the company, but Elon Musk's company, they're putting implants for people who cannot speak. You can use let's call them brain waves to pretty much control your keyboard or your surroundings, right? So that is also being explored for rehabilitation. So people who have borderline, who can potentially recover, they can use these devices to improve their chances of rehabilitation. Physical rehabilitation, I'm not sure if there is anything there yet, because robotics is still a evolving space where AI hasn't fully infiltrated. The problems of robotics is much more complex than languages and image. So that's maybe still upcoming, but anything that's more straightforward, that's related to images and audio or speech, there are solutions out there.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I hope that answers your question, Miss Vidya. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right. I think King's College, I think there are many places where we are using synthetic images to learn about the brain, to understand different patterns, different ways in which the brain can be, the brain interacts with the world, right? Interestingly, most I don't know if you understand the fundamental piece of AI is actually inspired by the neuron, right? The way the neuron is constructed biologically, the same way we have mathematical models that power today's modern day AI applications. So we are using again synthetic images to understand brain. There are specific models, like in this case, latent diffusion models. Yeah, I think GAN. I think the previous again. I have to reference the previous instructor. GAN was a specific technique where you could create realistic medical images and use that for training. Right? Instead of like taking real pictures, you can synthetically create those images for training students or helping people understand um, not just human anatomy, but also very specific um, problems within the body, right? Synthetic medical images have become very useful in that perspective. Okay. The second one is around personalization. I'm sure you must have seen ads, like if you speak about, let's say, buying something, let's say buying clothes, you must have become bombarded with ads, right? Those ads are actually powered by machine learning algorithms. Now that same approach and technique is now being used in creating personalized solutions. So you could have AI today that learns about your lifestyle, your clinical medical history, and if you have a particular treatment or a particular genetic profile, it can personalize medication for you, and it'll look at various factors. It's not just looking at um, one specialized zone. It's looking at various uh, medical specializations to come up with a treatment that suits you as one person, right? That wasn't possible before. Earlier, most treatment or diagnosis tend to be, you know, averages. Like what works for the masses is what would probably work for you as well. Now we have techniques. Again, having said that, this is not more prevalent. Maybe more advanced or developed countries have access to this more than, let's say, rest of the world, but it's becoming more accessible because of AI. Mayo Clinic is currently doing a bunch of experiments, not experiments, clinical trials on personalized treatments. They're also looking at genome data for like I think at least a million. I think when I wrote this, it was 100,000, but now we have a million patients for creating personalized treatment plan, looking at the genome data. The last one is around BioWorks. So this is the protein LLM drug discovery problem. Today, drug discovery in the past has become, it's it's almost like a decade-long research that leads to a particular drug, right? That comes to the market, gets marketed, and it has its own life cycle, right? Now we are using AI to find these new drugs, new molecules that can solve pharmaceutical challenges, not just in creating drugs that can target specific diseases, but also the process of manufacturing these drugs themselves. Okay, so both aspects are being looked at from through an AI lens. I think this year or maybe early next year, there will be a drug that is fully designed by AI. I think it's going through trials in the US market, and there'll be many more in the future. I think pharma companies have become acutely aware of the power of LLMs, and they are exploiting it fully. So that's on personalization. India will soon will have its own digital health records that will enable like population scale personalization. At least that's the potential. So once that digitization happens, we can also exploit these AI techniques to make personalized recommendations. And when I say personalized, it doesn't have to be like one person. It could also be, maybe for Mumbai, Maharashtra, there's a specific population scale plan or a district level plan, or it could be at a national scale. It doesn't have to be at an individual level. So you can create these things using AI. I'll touch upon that when we come to the population health dynamics, but that's becoming more possible because of AI today. Oops, did my laptop get stuck? Okay. I'm going to use some case studies here. The first one is a very simple case study, which is clinical documentation. And I'll use the normal, patient doctor conversations. So today we have devices almost like your Alexa that'll sit next to you, and it's listening to the conversation between the doctor and the patient, and it's going to transcribe all that interaction. Now, that's pretty easy, right? I mean, if you look at 5, 10, or maybe let's say 5, 7, 8 years ago, transcribing was a simpler problem, right? You could say English and you could convert that into text. But how do you interpret that text was still a difficult challenge. Now it's become easier. And it's become easier not just in a general purpose way, it's become easier even from a technical standpoint. So you could train AI models to understand specific clinical terms, um, and like interpret them and give you context, like correct, accurate contextual feedback. We're using those same trained LLMs specifically on healthcare to transcribe data between the patient and the doctor and record it. This kind of releases the doctor from doing manual note taking. But having said that, most doctors still take notes, and they still take notes while they have their AI assistant transcribing. What it does is it reduces a lot of admin work. It quickly transcribes the data. It also recommends the doctor, hey, I think based on our conversation, I think these are some programs that have worked in the past for this facility. Here's what I recommend that you do also. And the doctor has the final say whether he chooses what the AI is saying or whether he ignores it, right? So a lot of the administrative tasks have been reduced because of this clinical documentation. The other thing this also does is if you're going through a long treatment, it helps document the different stages. And it also becomes like a single source of truth across the ecosystem. So if you're in a hospital ecosystem, the same notes that the AI has captured in with one doctor will be easily available to the nurses or the other health practitioners that are interacting with you. So that's what this solves. It's a small, I think from a healthcare perspective, this is a very tiny solution, but it kind of helps quite a lot. It eases how your day goes, especially for the doctors and the healthcare practitioners specifically. So there are a bunch of things that it is doing, right? It's having a conversation, it's listening, it's generating notes, and you can even integrate with third-party applications to provide certain inputs. There are some real-world implementations of this. There is a Stanford Health, Microsoft Nuance Stacks. These are currently available solutions that you can use to do clinical documentation. So it's basically speech to text, but speech to text that can understand clinical notes accurately. Okay. Some of the solutions that we have developed, and these are some numbers that I'm picking up from the industry. I think it saves about 2 hours per day for a physician daily. Reduces documentation errors, and it helps the doctor focus on the patient instead of worrying about admin checklists, process, and other things. All right, I think this is what I wanted to cover here. Yep, it's not moving. Yeah. The next one, I'm going to shift from, let's say, the clinical space to the insurance, like healthcare insurance space. In healthcare insurance, Claims processing, which is quite manual. I think it's still quite manual, but this is a place where there's a lot of opportunity for automation. Okay, in a developed market, takes about 10 days on average, almost like half a month usually, to authorize, especially on prior auth. I don't know if people understand what prior auth is. If you have a plan, there might be certain diseases or clinical interactions for which you can get prior authorization. That means you don't have to do a lot of filing to get that claim processed. So that itself takes about 10 days to um, approve, and it's a very frustrating experience, especially when you're in a developed world. 10 days looks like a very long time, and it goes through a lot of cycles. It goes through the administrative process of filling up forms that gets reviewed by, let's say, an internal operations expert, then it gets handed to a clinical expert, and then it gets handed to a insurance expert for final approval. Right? There's a bunch of things that are happening, and because of these manual interventions, sometimes things get stuck. Now, what the industry is trying to do is we're trying to embed AI here. So instead of having somebody manually fill or review, we can have AI do some of the basic checks and then let the human do the more complex checks. That itself has, reduced turnaround time. We today have places where you can pretty much get same day authorization. Like you can process the claim within the same day. Having said this, this also creates newer problems. I'll talk about it later. Um, but this is possible now because of AI. And then you can also intelligently automate a bunch of things. Because this process has many experts involved, you can reduce the burden of experts by letting a LLM that's trained on these processes and use when I say LLM, it's GenAI, basically GenAI, to do some of that intelligent thinking and decide whether this can be authorized or not. Okay. So that's possible today because of GenAI. It can do a lot of automation, look at a lot of unstructured elements, bring in expertise where you may have limited resources, you may have limited people. You can have many AI solving multiple claims in parallel, right? So that's possible today because of GenAI. Okay, I'll pause here. I'll see if there are any questions. What is generated? Okay, what is generated 3D image? We do have 3D scans, right? Like 3D scan. Okay, medical imaging is not like your traditional imaging. It not only looks two-dimensional, but there's also other vectors like, at what point is a specific anomaly. That data is also available. Like how deep is your liver, how thick is your fat, skin fat cells. All those parameters are the third dimension in that data. There could be LiDAR scans. It's not just your let's say, like how you have photos where you have 2D pictures where there's just red, green, yellow aspects. You can also have another parameter that a particular sensor is observing. So X-rays are one example. So you can have multiple parameters embedded in unstructured data. EMR, EHR tends to have those attributes or dimensions embedded. It's not just 3D, it could be 5D as well. When it depends on which system you're using. There are these advanced MRI 3D scans that will capture all this data. And then you have specialized software that can interpret that data. You can pass that same data to GenAI models to train or interpret different problems. So that's what 3D images are. Okay, let me see Q&A. Okay, I see a question on how to get radiology images. There's a company called Cure. It's a India company. It has actually released, I think 10,000, maybe a lot more now, at least 10,000 MRI images, anonymized images with permission, of course. You just have to search for it. It should be available in either a Git repository, or I can like find that for you. And the way this started was the founder of that company went to different hospitals asking for permission to take scans. I think we started with like 100, 500 scans, and we built our AI models. Obviously, it was the data was kept secure, and it followed all the legal practices. And then we built the models. If you have access to these, let's say the healthcare network, you should be able to find radiology images locally as well. But right now, I think you should be able to find images very easily online. Look for research papers, look for AI models that have built radiology related models. You'll find that data, at least some samples. I have a second question. Check heart and I'm not quite sure I understood your question, Nitya, but yeah, there are because the human body is very complex. You may say that I have a pain in my arm, but then it's really some other problem. The AI is smart enough to depending on how it's trained, it will be smart enough that if you think there is a specific problem, the AI should be able to isolate if it is trained very well, and identify problems in other places as well. Okay, I think I answered about 3D images. Okay, I can't really answer about why the government is not introducing them. Yeah, I can attest that chatbots are pretty popular, but I would imagine that governments tend to be quite conservative, and they're also concerned about how this technology will be used. And these are valid concerns. It's not like they are not wrong. I'll talk about it, how AI, especially in the medical space, can be misused. Patient motivation. I have seen, well, the way we frame problems is slightly different. Instead of like directly pointing it out to a patient, but we look at how different entities interact with the patient. So something as simple as, okay, I'll give you a real problem, right? So for example, when we were developing this model where we can predict if a patient is becoming at risk of diabetes or any one of these big four conditions, right? Hypertension, these chronic diseases, we had models that were extremely good, but operationally they were very challenging. How do I inform the patient? How do I interact with the patient and make sure that they get the right attention, right? That was extremely challenging. That process itself took about 3-6 months of planning, like something as simple as, should a person visit, should a doctor inform them, should we send an SMS? All those aspects were very difficult. I think the key solution was communication and behavioral science. You can't like simply send an SMS saying, "Hey, we found that you're at risk. Do something," right? And that will probably create more problems for the patient and even to the entire ecosystem, right? So how do you create, let's say, behavioral science programs that can use the word motivate, but in what we had been focusing was making sure that the patient like follows through with the action for himself, right? How do we nudge the person to do the right set of things without like alarming them, right? That was the key challenge here. So those are places where a AI model can help help create those communication programs, those intervention plans and processes. I don't think there's like a direct way of motivating a patient, but there are small things that you can do, and those small things can be figured out using a AI model today. Okay, I think those are the questions I see. All right, good questions. Thanks for putting them there. I'll keep checking in and I'll keep trying to answer as much as I can. Okay, I think I'm not able to move.
You could take the questions at the end if you want. I thought it's better to, let you complete your.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that then. Okay. The third one is around fraud detection and compliance. Again, this is within the healthcare realm, but it's a major problem, right? And fraud and compliance is not just an insurance problem. It could be problems, for example, again, speak for the US, where um, like registered doctors can misuse the system. They can uh, provide a patient with a specific drug but claim for something else. These minor problems add up, and these add up into billions of dollars. The suspicious billion patterns, false claims, these are very well known healthcare frauds. There are systems in place that can prevent this, but as with any system, right, humans are very creative and clever. We adapt and adjust to the system. So it's always an evolving problem. And this is another area where AI is actively being used to find, these fraudulent activities or emerging fraudulent activities. Emerging fraudulent activities is a lot more difficult because it kind of falls in a gray area and not exactly legally binding. So finding those is something that GenAI is specifically helping. And it's helping not just in traditional ways where you're not only looking at transactions, but you're also looking at unstructured elements like written notes, recordings, mixed language documents. We have seen like really horrible handwriting, really horrible clinical notes, and we are able to pass this to AI, and it's able to interpret that very cleanly. And that interpretation alone helps other models, especially fraud detection models, make more accurate for fraud detection. Okay, so that's what's happening in the world today. It's also reducing those false positives, late detection. All those things are improving. And the places where fraud detection is helping is not just in medical image analysis, document review, billing behavior. These are places where we traditionally see issues like fraudulent issues. Now we are able to detect them using AI. Like using audit trails, you can look at multi-language support, things like that. Okay. I don't want to minimize this. This is a very big problem. If any business, any insurance company, any healthcare facility will be looking at this extremely closely because it costs them a lot, and it also costs eventually to the patient as well. So trying to reduce this is a key aspect of any healthcare operation. All right. Moving on to another domain, which is population health. I'm not familiar with how well we do. India has its own population health programs. I'm not familiar with how well we use data and AI, but in most advanced economies, this is a key aspect of how programs are developed. Okay. In the past, it used to be analysis, data analysis, or simple statistical analysis to come up with programs. And it could be something as simple as nutrition, right? Is this particular district getting the right level of nutrition? Does it have, do the kids in this location have access to nutritious food? Is also part of population health. These things are analyzed, and they're also like yearly patterns, right? You have a cold season, you have a rainy season where something new pops up, right? There are more viral infections. How do you capture that data and react to it? Those aspects have been in the past done with traditional machine learning models that look at structured data only. Now what's happening is we are bringing in GenAI. Instead of just reacting to what is happening on the ground for the population, we are now able to simulate different scenarios. Okay, what will happen if we have extreme rains in a specific region, right? What happens if there are extreme cold conditions or extreme heat conditions? How should the health infrastructure be prepared for it? Those aspects are what we look at in population health. And now with GenAI, we are able to look at not just unidimensional or maybe a few dimensions of the problem, but we're looking at problems from a multi-dimension perspective. Okay. You're not only looking at structured data, you're looking at unstructured data, you're looking at maps, you're looking at local spikes, global spikes, and then coming up with programs for the population mass. Okay. For that, again, a lot of that is powered using synthetic medical data generating tools. I think I spoke about this before, right? Before synthetic data was available, data was not, practitioners couldn't share data. So people who were designing population health programs had to rely on very small samples, which they had direct access to. And rare diseases are something that are studied in a very narrow space, and it's very hard for practitioners also to study this because not everybody has observed that, right? And doing clinical trials has been difficult, especially from a research perspective. Now with synthetic data, you can replicate or you can create scenarios, right? You can create multiple synthetic data, right? Like if let's say if you want to simulate something like a COVID happening again, you can create synthetic patients. Like a patient comes in, this person has XYZ symptoms, and he has a specific journey, like his age, but based on his age, location. Like you can create these multiple synthetic patients and generate data for them, and then study how the population at large will get impacted. You can predict things like how many beds we need. You can predict how many trained facilities do we need, where do we need them. All those things can be simulated using synthetically generated medical data. You get a lot of interesting projects are happening there. There is a German program that's looking at EHR data to create patient trajectories from birth to their final death, right? How their journey will evolve over time. All that is possible because of GenAI. And you can pretty much create unlimited data sets because the tech, when I say tech, I mean not just the technique of AI, but also the compute power that we have today. We are able to process a lot of data, which is unheard of. Your mobile phones are equivalent to what we used to have in 2010. Like smartphones today are equivalent to what we had in 2010. Yeah, in fact, much more powerful, right? So a lot of processing capability is available at our hands. We can do a lot of cool things with not just the tech that is available, but also the data that is available in the healthcare space. Okay, I will move on from here. So this is the first area, using synthetic data to do simulations. The second area is around doing preventive analytics, predictive analytics for preventive care. A lot of the problems that modern lifestyles have are preventable. Things like a lot of the chronic disease. I'm sure that I see that there are lots of doctors here in the forum. I'm sure you understand this. If we can predict that a particular person is at risk, we can put some intervention programs and put them on the right path, right? This is something that insurance companies in developed countries have been aggressively pushing towards, And now this technology has become more accessible. Now anybody with a chat GPT can have an interaction, and I don't want to say self-diagnose, but also at least identify potential risks with their lifestyle and health programs, right? So earlier it used to be very reactive. We used to observe data and then come up with plans for, let's say, diseases that are up and coming. If we see a spike, then we do the analysis of that data and then come up with a plan. That used to take months to plan and execute operationally. That was, I mean, I'm sure most of you must have seen how COVID played out, right? Even with the drugs coming out, the way the drugs were coming out was pretty slow. The way things were organized was slow. All this planning uh, used to take traditional systems, traditional AI systems as well. But now that is improving. Now the data is more accessible. The way we can identify different risks is more sophisticated. We're not just using traditional AI models or traditional methods. You're using more modern day methods to identify population risks, not just at a individual clinical risk, but at a population, what are the risks that we are dealing with? And that planning, that analysis alone helps us to preventive programs, right? If you feel like nutrition is getting low, I'm using the word nutrition because this is something that is quite important in most countries, and it is actively analyzed, especially kids' nutrition. They will look at things like how nutritious is your rice, how nutritious is your corn. Everything is data today, and based on that samples, we can come up with a plan. Okay, I don't think we are making good produce. We need to import more, or we need to produce better in the upcoming months. All those planning happens, and it's all data driven. And we can now use AI to do some of that planning without having human expertise. The last one is around predictive. Because now we have data sitting idle, we can start creating solutions that can predict what could potentially happen in the next 3 months, next 6 months. I don't want to say up to a year, but at least till 6 months is a reasonable way of predicting something. What that allows us to do is it can reduce a lot of the burden in the healthcare ecosystem. Think about anything from emergency visits, right? We have seen that even with traditional models, you can reduce ER visits by 25%. And ER visits in the US are extremely expensive, and reducing by 25% is a major gain. You also see that investments in these technologies tend to benefit, like the return on investment is almost 3x. You can use this AI models to diagnose patients the same day, even the same second. You can use even LLMs to do some of your basic diagnosis. And you must have heard a lot of stories on social media where people are using it to self-diagnose. I know the last time OpenAI released their GPT-5 model, the first snippet or the video demo that they had was of people using ChatGPT to diagnose their condition. That's what's happening. There are risks to it, but that power is there with GenAI models today. All right, I will move on. Okay. Now that we have data at a population level, there is planning at a population level, and then there are also AI models at a population level. We are able to use this for targeted public health campaigns. So once you have identified potential risks or even predicted potential risks, you are now able to like plan for these campaigns, right? Earlier, I think public campaigns tend to be very broad-based, right? Like the polio vaccination, there is one ad that probably continues to run till today. And it requires people with deep understanding of public health to do this campaign management. And usually public health campaign management tends to run on very low budgets. And it also needs policy, let's call it motivation. Like if the governments of that districts or locality are serious about public health campaigns, then it gets implemented. And it needs a lot of planning, right? So traditional campaigns used to be very difficult. Now with GenAI, this is becoming easier. Okay? We are able to analyze demographic, cultural, behavioral factors. You can design campaigns not just for, let's say, South India, maybe a district in Kerala where there are some cultural sensitivities. You can also design campaigns for um, more modern societies. You can basically customize these campaigns using GenAI based on the intelligence that you have of that population. The second thing is you can also create personalized messages for different communities. You can create local language messages. You can create text in Tamil. You can create text in um, Marathi, whichever local language you prefer. You can basically describe the campaign that you are creating or planning to create, and then target it to specific demographies and be aware of their cultural sensitivities as well. Right? You can create that very quickly with GenAI models today, and you don't need anything sophisticated. You just need a general purpose LLM, and that could do that extremely efficiently. This is being currently used by marketing departments. I think one of the first places where LLM started to be exploited was marketing. I think for healthcare, public health campaigns is where this has become very useful. Okay. Yeah, I know. I think the best examples have been in New York, where the NY state government is creating these public health campaigns specifically for drug addicts. In areas where there are problems on how to help them. It's not about reducing their addiction, but also it's more about managing what drug addiction leads to, it, not just mental health problems, but also physical health problems. How do you manage that? How do you give them safe access to those facilities? How do you put that message across is something that New York State has been using it effectively. The second one is on Canada. Canada is extremely sensitive about health campaigns. And in the past, they used to run a lot of, let's call it on-ground activity to build their public health campaigns. Now they're using GenAI. They are collecting live data. Using that live data, there is enough digital infrastructure, and they're using that infrastructure to come up with public health campaigns for different regions in Canada. Those are some of the good ones that I know of. UK also has something similar, but it's still traditionally run with some amount of AI. But New York, California, Canada, they're using more AI more effectively. India has a lot of opportunity here, like especially given our diverse nature, we should be able to come up with specialized demography, cultural specific campaigns using GenAI. All right. I'll pause here. I think I'm getting to one more key section. Let me see if there are any questions. This is okay. I'm reading a question from Ananda. How to identify right drug for right disease and right place? Yeah, this is what is ideal, right? I think I don't think that can be answered straight away, but it's becoming easier with GenAI. We are able to understand molecule structures. What can be pharmacology relevant and approved of, and even compliant, right? All those can be done more quickly today. It doesn't need a lot of manual effort because of AI as a technology. But the core problem of identifying right drug, right disease, right place still remains. I think that will remain as long as we remain organic. I don't think that will go away with AI. Right drug prediction. You mean of the known? Okay, I'm reading a question by Anant Nath, which says, can GenAI improve the right drug prediction for a specific disease when symptoms are clearly specified? This can be solved using traditional AI. You don't need GenAI particularly, but GenAI will make it easier to, or at least it'll make it more holistic. It'll look at a lot more dimensions to find the right drug. So it's possible. I think I won't be surprised if there are companies already that have collected all drug related data, the efficacy, and selling it as a AI solution. I'm sure if I do a Google search, I'll find some startup or even a well-known company solving for this problem. It's possible. I think based on how you're describing it, it's a very easy Gen AI problem to solve. Okay, I only see 2 questions. Okay, I'll move on to the key part of this, right? I know I've spoken a lot about what Gen AI can solve. I also want to tell you the reality of it, right? Like what is solvable today, what is not solvable, what is still a challenge. Okay, so let me tell you what is working first. Okay, what is working is there's a lot of time saving that is happening. Physicians are expressing a lot of satisfaction with the way AI documents, right? Imagine a tool that can understand the way you converse, interprets the terminologies. It's able to do that very accurately. So that's actually working very well. There is diagnostic robotics, like ER visits have reduced. Diagnostic robotics is basically your like using your iPad to look at symptoms or document your symptoms and providing recommendations using different medical devices. Those things are helping reduce emergency department burden, and there's a 3x return. It's a known study. I think it's from a Stanford study itself. And lastly, personalized treatments. Mayo has been running this for I think since 2019, just before COVID hit. They proposed it, and now they have lots of patients going through personalized treatments, and that has only accelerated since the LLMs have been introduced. So that's also becoming very effective. There are lots of positive outcomes on personalized treatments. Earlier, you would have problems finding out the right drug. People may have allergies. There are different constraints that different patients bring. But with AI, we are able to understand the patient profile more deeply, more precisely, and come up with a plan that helps the patient overall. And in some cases, even uh, solves the core issue. Okay. What this has led to is almost a $200 billion saving, and this is coming from the U.S. Healthcare Administration. And this includes everything from traditional AI to AI. This has been building since 2012, where we have been using traditional AI to now Gen AI. All that has cumulatively helped save $200 billion in saving in the US alone. It's today improving productivity. I think 40% of healthcare working hours is being now managed better using Gen AI tools. And I've also talked about authorizations, right? What used to be very manual, time consuming. Now you can just take a picture, send your medical bill on your insurance app, and you will get your claim processed the same way. And it won't touch any human at all. Okay. Now these are things that we know are working for sure in the healthcare space. At least we have studied this fairly well. As more and more AI gets prevalent in healthcare, more things will get exposed, right? Net net, there is more benefit that we are seeing in across, right, anybody using, but there are some challenges. The first one is the hallucination problem. Now, healthcare is a very sensitive space, right? If you make a mistake here, the cost is extreme, right? Healthcare, finance, and relationships. These are three areas which are critical for any human. Making mistakes here tends to be a big problem, right? We still have hallucinations, although they have reduced significantly in the past 2 years. The models that are coming out, I don't think there's a lot of hallucination. If there are hallucinations, they're able to self-detect and highlight that, hey, I don't think I'm fully confident here, right? So those things are happening with more modern day, but hallucination as a problem still exists. Nothing is fully accurate. The second problem is bias in training data. Most GenAI models are models trained on data that we already have, and that data itself may have biases. Let me give you a real world problem, right? In the US, at least this is what I know about, at least this is what it documented. The way, let's say, uh, specific races get treated was different. And the data that has been collected still is considered during clinical analysis. And that data has been now exposed to many of the LLMs. Something as simple as like tolerance ranges when you do your blood tests. There are different standards, right? And depending on which school you went to, you probably have a different standard. In the US, the standards that we used to follow for specific races used to be different. And we have now known that those standards that were being applied is not correct. But the LLMs are exposed to that data, and that bias does creep in when we are testing for different healthcare problems. Now that having said that, most people like me who build these models are aware of these problems, and we look out for these problems. But these do exist, so that problem can creep out at any point, right? So that is one issue. The second is around the third one is around privacy and security. Now that there's a lot of data, and it's being not just used by your practitioner, but it's also being used by different tools. Right? There is a software that will probably take that data. It kind of increases the risk of this data being exposed in unfair or it could also even potentially create security risks. Patient data could be misused. It's becoming more prevalent. It's not just an AI problem, but it's more a problem of digitization. It's a bigger problem because AI is enabling that digitization a lot more, and it can even expose some of your sensitive data, right? So that's the third risk that we are dealing with. The last one is human in the loop imperative, right? I don't think there is anybody who fully would take an advice that is coming directly from an AI. There's usually an expert that has to go through. I mean, that's also a general recommendation, right? Nobody should blindly listen to what a AI is saying. It has to go through some human expert, and every AI recommendation needs clinical oversight, and that's generally being aligned globally by different responsible AI ethics teams across the world. Okay. I'll give you a real example, right? Let's say there's a doctor who is using a device when diagnosing a patient. Let's say he uses the diagnosis that the AI provided, and if something goes wrong, who would you hold accountable, right? Would you hold the doctor accountable? Will you hold the manufacturer of the device, or will you hold the data scientist who built the AI model? So who is accountable? I don't think there are laws that are ready for this technology, or at least the way this technology is evolving. Today, most of the consensus is get the person, get a human expert to diagnose, and there's no good way of fully relying on AI today. Okay, so that's what is not working. Um, yeah, I think this is what I had for reality. And in the future, what we are going to see is we're going to see more AI. And if there's not enough AI, there's going to be more AI. It's going to be on your phones. It's going to be on your TVs. I'm sure it's already there now. In the healthcare world, GenAI is now exploring more dimensions. Virtual reality is going to be a lot more um, AI focused. I think now doctors are using VR sets, not just for training, but also simulations. Right? VR headsets are becoming much more popular. You will have VR headsets with GenAI. You can, I've seen renditions where you can pretty much travel the human body using a VR headset. And that way you get to learn exactly what's happening. You can even look at different issues within the human body or even outside, right? Even at a population scale. That's going to become more pertinent. Wearables have become extremely good. They are already fairly good, even with low quality sensors. It's only the software that's doing a lot of the compensating work, and it's all powered by some kind of AI. Think of your Apple Watches, how it predicts a fall, how it predicts seizures. All of that is powered by some AI model within that small device, and that's going to become more common. It's becoming common already, especially in old age folks. There's a lot of risk with that specific demography. Something as simple as fall risk. How do you predict if a person is going to fall? How do you get help if a person has fallen? That's a major problem, especially in developed countries where old age people live alone with not a lot of access to their community. That's going to become more prevalent in the future. And the last one is robotics. Like I said earlier, robotics has its own challenges. You're not just looking at vision, you're also looking at senses. As humans, we have a lot more things going on for us, right? We have vision, we have smell, we have hearing, we have touch, we have a lot more senses. And our evolution has taught us to interact with the world. And we have that intelligence embedded in our brains. Today, we have AI that can understand language and maybe audio and vision to some extent. AI is not capable of understanding smell. It's not capable of understanding touch, feel. That is currently being explored. That's going to become more prevalent in the future. So robotics and Gen AI is something to look out for in healthcare. Think of AI-powered surgical assistants, care robots. Those things will become more prevalent. Hopefully, I've listed some futuristic things that are proposed, like health avatars, virtual doctors for basic consultations, clinical decision supports, like AI analyzing your data instead of a doctor. Some of this is already happening. This is probably going to become more prevalent. And then automated research. This is probably the most high value item. Now that AI can understand multiple domains, you can combine different intelligences, knowledges, and come up with new learnings and understanding of health. Okay, I think this is the last slide I have. I will take
Yeah,
a
we are
pause.
also in the last 10 minutes. So if you want to take any questions, there are few questions in the chat box. Some of them we have answered during the course of your
Yeah.
session only. So
I see one new one, which is around cancer detection. Yeah, cancer detection, it's an active area. Now, earlier I spoke about using MRI and X-rays. Cancer detection is among the first few things AI is helping solve for. and it's able to detect them at a very early stage. That's the key benefit. A human eye has a limit, whereas a machine can look at individual pixels. So if it can like find 3 or 4 anomalous pixels, it's able to detect cancer or any anomaly, right? It could be TB, it could be different medical conditions which are difficult to detect, or it could be something like a combination of problems, right, which are not easy for even a doctor. You may need multiple specialists to isolate the problem, right? Those kinds of problems AI is able to answer today. Okay, I'll hang around for a few more minutes and see. Okay. What are the challenges in generating new drug? Okay, I think generating new drug, I think drug discovery itself is a huge process, right? There are different stages. And the first stage, you're identifying the molecule. At the second stage, you're looking at whether that molecule is safe for human consumption. And then you are doing testing on animals. So that it goes through different phases, right? At each phase, how do you find the risks early on? That's the key challenge. And that's where AI is helping. It learns the risks from previous drug trials. It also looks at different molecular interactions. Like you can simulate those interactions either in an animal body or a human body using AI, and you can identify the risks early on. So that's where it's helping. Okay, identify right. Okay, this I've answered. So I've answered. Can you using AI synthetic image analysis? I don't think I have tools, but to do synthetic image analysis. But I can give you maybe I can show you an example, right? It's an Indian company, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. So this, I mean, if you see this image, right? The AI is identifying that, hey, this person probably has tuberculosis and some other condition, and it's highlighted the area, right? This is likely a synthetic image, right? And we can, like, you can probably create, like, you can take real data, like you can take real data from 100 patients, and you can pass it to an AI to generate synthetic data from that small sample set, and then use that larger sample to train a new AI to detect potential anomalies. So that's one way of leveraging synthetic data for image analysis.
If I may just add that this Cure AI has been incubated at the NASCOM Center of Excellence.
Yep. It's a very, I mean, I'm quite proud of this company actually. I think the devices here, you can pretty much, have a person who take a small device remotely. They can take a snapshot and pass it to a AI, and it can give you some quick diagnosis. It's being used in Philippines, especially in remote areas where there are not many medical facilities. It's actively being used in UK now. It's patented and approved of for use in radiology in the UK and many other countries. I mean, I've seen this company grow personally, and they've done quite a lot of cool things.
Right. It's heartening to note that Indian companies are doing so well in this domain.
Yep. All right. What else? All right. I don't see any more questions. All right. I'll pass it back to you, Kamna.
Thank you so much for this session.
Yeah,
and amazing to know the various improvements that GenAI has done, and then how it's helping to improve healthcare and disease prediction and drug discovery. So thank you so much for that. And once again, if there are any more questions, you can share them with me. We can pass it on to Akbar, and he can reply when he has time. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule. I know that last time when I had spoken to you, said that my next free date is like 2 months away or something. So thank you so
Hmm.
much, and we really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your insights and knowledge. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Okay.